Okay, so we'll do propagation now. So I'm going to teach you 4 kinds of propagation. Do seed sowing of half-hardy annuals, of tender crops, so you start them off differently. I'll do hardwood cuttings, semi-ripe cuttings, softwood cuttings, okay? They're the types I'll show you. Now, if you were going to start tender crops, say like courgettes, runner beans, all these sorts of plants, you don't put those out into the ground until at least mid-May, because they're subject to late frosts and cold snaps, winds. So you start them inside. You want a nice strong plant before you put them in the ground. This has 2 benefits. One is they don't get frosted. 2 is they're less prone to slugs and disease because they've got a bit of lignin in the leaves and they're stronger plants, okay? So you want a propagator. This is my propagator. This is the best investment you can make. I would advise you though to buy a heated one, a bigger one, but I'll show you the method in my little propagator, okay? So, you want really a seed compost. Don't ever try and get round that. If you're using multi-purpose compost, your results will be so much poorer. There's too much nutrient in the soil to start with. It's too lumpy. You want a nice, fine, low nutrient seed compost, peat-free seed compost, okay? And you bring this in. See how lumpy and not lumpy and fine it is. I'm going to show you another trick as well to make this even better. We're going to create the perfect seed bed for my Vietnamese mustard here. So what I want to do now is I just want to go over the top with a sieve. Just get a lovely fine seed bed, okay? Then I'm going to give that a tap. Lovely crumbly surface. I'm going to take a thing called a tamper. But I'm just going to go there. You see it's a little bit low in the corners. Just take that up. Okay. All right, and just press that down. You see I've got a lovely, lovely smooth bed. I would label that probably now, put a label in it, because I'll probably be doing lots of seeds. And that would go in. Take my seed, my heritage seed. This is great if you want to grow plants, grow heritage plants, because you can collect the seed off them and grow them the following year, the following year, the following year, the following year, as opposed to hybrids. So I get my seed in my hand here. And I'm going to do a thing called snake the seed, okay? So I pinch like this. Again, you see left hand, right hand pinch. As I'm going to start in this corner, and I'm going to come up, and I come down. Up and down. Up and down. Up and down. And why am I doing that? This is just the best way to get even distribution across my soil, okay, across my compost. And that's very important, because otherwise you'll get a thing called damping off, which is a fungus that tends to rot the bottom of the seedling off. If they're all bunched in one corner, less chance of success, okay? Label, again, watering can with a rose up the other way, over here, pour, over, back again, off. Don't wash anything out, particularly important in a propagator, all right? Label it, date it, lid on, put in a windowsill. Those plants will go in about 7 to 8, 10 days top. When they germinate, you want them to come up to 2 to 4 leaf stage. So you've got a lot of little baby seedlings, then you want to prick them out. So you take a dibber or a pencil and you tease each seedling out, only holding them by the leaves, never by the stem. Never touch the roots, okay? And then you plant them into their own individual pot to grow them on, all right? And you can bury that seed right up to its neck, because you don't want a leggy seedling, and you want it to germinate and produce more roots all along the stem, all right? A big tip for you when that's full of seeds. What I want you to do is I want you to turn and stroke, right? At least twice, 3 times a day. Because if you're growing them in a flat, they will stretch to the light and they'll elongate. So if you turn, they have to bend back again. If you stroke, you're stimulating. You're being like the wind, like the outdoors, right? So you get a squat little strong seedling, all right? It makes perfect sense when you think about it. So turn and stroke, prick out, up to the neck. As gently as you can. If I had a seedling there, I'd get a dibber underneath and I'd gently tease it out. But if I damage the leaf a bit, the plant will recover. If I damage the stem or the roots, it's probably game over, okay? It's the one part of the plant that can take a little bit of grief. If you're growing tender plants, particularly legumes, which is your runner beans, broad beans, French beans, climbing beans, they particularly don't like having their roots interfered with. So I always grow them in what you call a root trainer. And you can see here, this is a root trainer. It's a ribbed pot, which means they like to be deep rooted. It's forcing the roots down And it means when I can germinate them, when the plant comes out like this, I can just open them, gently pull them out and plant them straight into the ground, okay? It means I haven't touched the roots, gives them a much stronger start, okay? So I do 3 kinds. I'm going to start with hardwood. So hardwood, this is a fig. A hardwood is something you do in the winter, okay? And actually, willow does this really well. So say, for instance, you wanted to create a willow weave at a children's school. You can actually go out and get 50 willow weave hardwood cuttings, bundle them together and get 50 plants. Very, very easy to do. So really the trick is, as again, this is a node. The lumps on the stem are called nodes. These are my growing points. So this is the area that's going to produce my root, okay? I'm going to do 1 cut flat. I'm going to make sure it's about maybe 20 centimetres long. Pick another node and cut, but this cut, I'm going to slope, all right? And the reason I'm going to do that is because if I put it down, I want to remember which way up it's supposed to go, all right? It's very simple. The really good little tip here is just to scrape away the base of the hardwood cutting, all right? And here you can see you get these white streaks in here. This is the vascular bundle, really the pipe work of the plant. And in here is a cell called cambium. Cambium is the area, the productive cell. It produces roots, it produces leaves, nodes, whether it's the bit of regenerative, if you like. So I've got that. Flat under a node at the bottom, sloping above a node at the top. I will apply some organic hormone powder to that. Okay, you can get that in any garden centre, and that'll just speed up stimulation. Then I'll probably bundle those, maybe 10 of them, wrap them in some lackey bands maybe, and then on a north face, I'll sink them in a mixture of sand and soil, and I'll sink them quite deep, about that deep. So a bundle, north facing, in sandy soil. I'll leave them there for the winter. I'll bring them up in the spring. I've got a lot of new plants. You've got your Japanese squash here. Okay, so this is a semi-ripe. You'll do these probably this time, well, it's right on the edge now, September, October, okay? A lot of conifers go from semi-ripe. And what it basically means is you've got this year's growth, but a bit of last year's growth, okay? And that's what you do. So I don't need that bottom leaf, that can go. This is my old wood, this is my new wood. Again, I'll probably nick that off a bit, expose the vascular bundle, and then I don't want it transpiring too much. I'll just take the leaves right back so it can still photosynthesize, but it won't overdo it, it won't dry out. So that's a little semi-ripe. You can put them in a seed tray. If you can get them in a propagator with a heated bottom, they'll probably go in a month, 3 weeks to a month. My homework for you all is certain plants will go from soft, certain plants will go from hard, certain plants will go from semi-ripe. Do some homework, find out what they are. Softwoods is just literally this year's growth. A lot of shrubs go this way, some fruit does. Again, homework, find out what it is. Softwoods is, this is a bit of bay. You can see that's all this year's growth. Nice, soft, 1 season-year-old growth. So I want it about 10, 15 centimetres. Again, I'm going to go right under a node because the node's my growing point, okay? I nick off the leaves at the bottom. I don't necessarily have to expose the vascular bundle on the soft, because it's young wood, so it's usually full of hormone. Could do that if you wanted, but there you can go. There's your cutting. Again, I'm going to reduce the leaves. See, current season's growth in May, so that's been put on since the spring started. Nice, fertile piece of growing material. Leaves reduced. Now, the secret with these is cool tops, hot bottoms. Okay, you can remember that. Right, so in the propagator, a heated propagator, you've got the heat underneath, and then you damp them down, you mist them on top, okay? But if you've got, say, you've come to the end of the year and you've had some heritage tomatoes, and you want to keep that going next year without spending any coin, or because they've been delicious, I'll just knock this one in half. Obviously, they're full of seed, aren't they? So this is so easy to do. So you would literally just pour your seed into a sieve, okay? And then, this is not going to be the easiest thing to demonstrate. You get a little bit of kitchen towel and you just literally try and get all the pulp out. I would probably run that under a tap as well to help me do it. Okay, you can see already I'm losing the pulp. And I'm down to my seed, okay? Look at that. No finer sight than a seed, mate, I'll tell you that. I'm going to tap these out onto here. Doesn't matter if they're higgledy-piggledy. Okay. Again, label everything. Just remember that I've labelled. Don't ever not label something because you just forget what it is. Offside, just let it dry naturally. Let it dry. Gradually, all the moisture will disappear out of it. You can then literally just pop it into these, label it, put it in a cupboard, put it in the fridge, and they're ready for sowing next year.